Bucks is coming back to KFAN starting next week. We'll have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter keywords and to learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
Final in Dallas, Spain holds on to beat Portugal 1-0. They will take on the winner of USA and Belgium. That's coming up a little bit later tonight right here on the Fan. Portugal had some good opportunities there, Pierre Noujaim, Fox 9 Sports.
Certainly did. Watched the first half of The Office. Got the last couple of minutes here, and like Brett was saying, I turned my head for 1 second, and Spain's on the board. So, yeah, Spain is going to be a tough one to beat. If the U.S. advances, that is going to be a real big challenge for the United States.
Let's stay there for just a second, because the prevailing wisdom, and I think Trudell shares this opinion as well, that whatever happens tonight, most people think the dream dies next match against Spain for the U.S. Why are we so negative? Why haven't you guys picked up on the fact that this is clearly a team of destiny like the rest of us?
Listen, I would love nothing more than to see the United States pull off one of the biggest shockers in World Cup history by knocking off Spain in the quarterfinal. I think that would be great, but Spain is such a tactically gifted team, really talented team. I know the opening match, we all kind of looked around when they tied Cape Verde 0-0. Everybody was looking around saying, what is going on here? But Cape Verde proved to be a pretty formidable opponent the rest of the tournament. So, Spain still is one of the favorites. I think right now, objectively, if you look at the tournament, France looks like the best team. But Spain is going to be a really tough out for the United States. I just don't know if they have the horses to compete against Spain.
All right, I want to talk about LeBron here in a second. We've got Johnny Athletic at 5:30 to give us the latest on what's going on, as everybody in basketball is still waiting on a 41-year-old, I think, about to enter. I'm getting emotional thinking about LeBron. About to enter year 24 in the NBA. I was at my first college, the University of Iowa, in 2003 when I watched him on ESPN2 as a high schooler. That's how long he has been in my life. I've known you. When did you move to town?
January of 2018.
2018. Okay, so just shy of a decade.
Yeah.
And we've worked together on the PJ Flex show for about that long,
3
right?
or 4 years now.
Yeah, a little bit longer. Whenever Hobie went to Michigan.
Yep.
And we've obviously gotten to know each other pretty well. And you are one of the few people, I've always said, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
But live in completely different worlds. And I would get to the set of the PJ Flex show or the Gopher pregame show, and Ron Johnson, we'd be talking about kids stuff or something, and you'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, I just landed, I went to Atlanta after the PJ Flex show, and we hung out there for 4 days. Or I went to Vegas after the Gopher game and just got back on a red eye.
Yep.
I asked you one time, do you have any trips planned this summer? You said, not really. And then said, well, I am going to Japan at the end of the month.
Is that what I said?
It's a legit conversation. I said, do you have any travel? Because you're one of my friends that travels a lot. Your wife's a flight attendant.
Yes.
So that works.
That helps.
That certainly helps everything. But the point is, you and I were in different spheres, seasons of life.
Right.
And so, first of all, that you got married, to me, was a shock.
Yeah. You're not alone in that sentiment.
I believe that. And now that you are maybe minutes, but certainly weeks away, maybe a week or so away from being a dad, this is going to be fascinating for me as an outsider, as a guy who has known you for, like you say, about a decade, kind of how you move.
Yeah. And
I think you know how it's all about to change. But how are you feeling going into this new season?
Before I answer that question, one of my favorite things that Guardsy would always tell me whenever we would have conversations like this, he would always tag the conversation with, spoken like a man with no children.
That's true, because you'd have huge opinions on something, and I'd be like, bro,
I know.
I'm not coming in telling you about soccer.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan Burns is the new one in that category, by the way.
Oh, is he really?
Burnsy from Gopher Gazette now. Yeah. He's rebranded.
Oh.
And
I didn't catch that.
He has huge opinions, and I'm like, dude, you have like 7 cats at your house.
Yeah.
You don't have kids. You're not going to have kids. That's fine. But I'm really not looking for your tutelage here. Yeah. I'm really not looking for your opinion or your advice. No, nothing personal, but you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So I would say that to you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and really to answer your question immediately, the first thing that popped in my mind was, well, my travels are going to be different. They don't necessarily have to stop, but they're going to be looking different. Like I'm not going to be, well, I'm not, let's be real, I'm not taking the kid to Vegas, but
not for a while.
Not for a while. I'm not taking the kid to Vegas, but maybe my gambling habits will have to take a back seat to fund this child's life. I think that would probably be a good step in the right direction. Would certainly make my wife a lot happier as well. But on top of that, yeah, I told you off air, my wife had an appointment this morning. She sent me a 3D image of the kid, and the entire time leading up to pregnancy, or leading up to eventual delivery, I should say.
Yep.
All the 3D images of him his hand was in front of his face. Complete camera shy, would not give us a single sliver of what his face looks like until today. And unfortunately, I wasn't there today with her. I had to be at work a little bit earlier. She sent me that photo, and I was like, whoa. Like, that's my kid? That's crazy. It's starting to hit me a little bit now. Yeah.
How much advice unsolicited have you gotten?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot, but I'm not really bothered by it at all, because I'm actually someone, I want to hear everybody's opinion. I want to hear not necessarily how you raise your child, but maybe in certain situations, or what you did with this, or maybe you thought something was a big deal, but if you're looking back on it now, maybe it wasn't a big deal, or vice versa.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm a sponge right now. Please tell me whatever you think I maybe need to know, because deep down, I am a little bit terrified. Like, I don't know how to change a diaper. I've never had to be in charge of somebody's life like this. So I'm all ears.
Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line is 64686. Hit Pierre with your best parenting advice.
Please do.
We'll have you can also tweet me at Guardsy. I'm going to give you my advice later.
Okay.
At the end of the next segment.
Okay.
I'm going to make you wait for my advice. Because that is one thing, too. You will get a lot of advice. You'll get a lot of people telling you how they did it. And that's fine. That's fair.
I
And
have no problem with that.
It all comes from a good place.
Sure.
So there's no reason to be offended by it.
Nope.
And whatever advice you get, or you have people in your family that will do it one way, or when they have the kid, they'll do it this way. It's like, you just got to let that go.
Right.
Because it's your kid at the end of the day. When you get in the car, you can change it if you don't like it the other way. You know what I mean?
Now that you mentioned the car, I will be hugging the turns maybe a little bit slower this time around.
I wish who is it, James Corden, that did the carpool karaoke?
Yeah, yep.
Or like, to make it even an older reference, Taxi Cab Confessions. Remember that HBO show? That when we were like teenagers, you'd watch it thinking this is like the greatest show of all time. I can't believe I'm actually watching this. What are they going to say? And it never felt like anything interesting was ever said. But because it was HBO, you felt like, oh my gosh, these adults are going to say some stuff. It's going to be cool. We joke about this all the time. The way we took from Fairview Southdale Hospital back to our house in Minnetonka, the way we took and the speed at which we drove is so embarrassing, like how terrified we were. Because like you say, you're terrified. Yeah. You just leave the hospital and they say, you're supposed to, have a fireman, basically. They terrorize you. Yeah. Make sure like someone checks the car seat.
We did that. We did stop by a firehouse.
Yeah. It's like, why are they if it locks, it locks. By the time you have 3 kids, you're like, is it in? It's good enough. Let's move on. But they do the fireman check. You got to basically get like a notary public to sign off on it.
Yes.
And we drove 9 miles an hour, basically down France to 50th to Blake Road to Excelsior to Willis, like as slow as we could possibly go. Because you can't believe that anybody you're just in charge. That's it. After you leave the hospital.
The fireman that was with us at the time too, like really pulled down hard on the straps too, on the test dummy. And this is a fake doll. And even I kind of like almost leapt. I was like, are you sure you want to make it that tight? I feel like they're not going to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to like really is it really this tight? Or it's like, should I trust this person? I don't know. But
then think about how many different seats and positions in your parents' vehicle did you sit in that were nothing like that?
Well,
we would lay down in the back seat. We'd be, if it was a station wagon, to be looking the other way. Like no one cared.
Do you have any recollection as to when you rode in your parents' car for the first time, like not in a car seat? Do you even remember? I think I was like 4. And the reason why I bring it up is because I see like some people, like even 4-year-olds are riding around in car seats, and I'm looking like, oh yeah, what? For a 4-year-old in a car seat? We're just put in the back seat, put a seatbelt on us,
right?
You'd be just fine.
No, it's different. Yeah, it's definitely different.
Why is it different?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think people are trying to sell more car seats. That's what I think.
That might be a Pierre's problem. We'll get to Pierre's problem. We'll get to LeBron, and we got some great parenting advice already to the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. We will give that to Pierre in our last conversation with him, we think, before he becomes a father.
Can't wait.
In just hours.
In for Barreiro. This is Justin Guard on the Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY
Party of the Year is coming to the Minnesota State Fairgrounds July 17th through the 19th, the Street Machine Nationals, and you can be there. Enter now for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets, KFAN.com, keyword contest.
So much good parenting advice has flown into the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line 64686. It's not for me, although I could use some of them, and I might write a few of these down as a father of three. It's for our in-studio guest, Pierre Noujaim from Fox 9 Sports. He's in studio for one more segment. Mike Trudell is going to join next segment. We'll talk LeBron and World Cup with him, the former Northwestern Wildcat soccer player, as well as Orono Spartan. But let's talk LeBron here briefly, because I don't know if you caught the segment before you joined, but to me, the 4th of July used to be about parades and fireworks and family time. Now it's just about free agency.
Yeah.
For the Wolves, the Wild, and I guess that all changed with Parisi and Suter in 2012. But how have you read, as a guy who's not a Minnesota sports fan, you cover the teams. You're not one of us like I am, who's literally lived and died with this team since I was 7 years old, and I was a member of the Timberwolves Breakfast Club. How have you processed the whole LeBron dream?
I think it would be massive.
Oh,
I think it would. Not only would it be a great fit, it's a position of need. Obviously, I'm not convinced that if this is his last season too in the league, I'm not convinced that he would want to spend it in Minnesota. And that's no offense to us here in Minnesota.
Right.
I totally get it. He's arguably one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. So he gets to pick and choose really where he wants to end his career, and I have no issue with that. But not only could Minnesota use a guy like him, I saw an argument on Twitter about would this be a bigger signing than Brett Favre coming to the Vikings? And a lot of people I thought that I saw said, no, Brett Favre was way bigger and it wasn't even close. I disagree entirely.
So do I.
I disagree entirely. I think this would be the most massive free agent signing in the history of Minnesota sports.
The other thing where it's different from Favre, and Dan and I talked a little bit about this last week. You weren't here for this, but there was a Favre buildup that was like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because when he left the Packers the first time, he wanted to come here. Brett's named for Brett Favre, by the way.
I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Hasn't aged great.
Yeah.
No, not really.
It hasn't totally aged well. Brett doesn't go to Mississippi now either at all. He doesn't want to be associated. But there was everybody knew he went on Joe Buck. Like, he wanted to be here. It was known. Brett Favre wanted to be here.
Right.
So there was drama around it and suspense, but it was like, if this can happen, it will happen. And it eventually did.
Right.
This one, and there's only, and the Vikings, like the usual rules in the NFL for sports don't apply in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like the flyover market, the small town, the temperature.
Right.
Like the NFL, none of that matters.
Yes.
So it's not a shock when anybody comes here to play for the Vikings. For the Timberwolves, literally the only reason he wouldn't come here is because it's Minnesota. And however you want to say it. Lack of success, the weather, flyover country, that's the one reason why. Is just it'd be so crazy. So I agree with you. This would be a much bigger story.
I think it would be huge. And even at this stage in his career, listen, even in the games that I watched him play in last year, I still don't think he's lost all that much of a step. Is he going to be your absolute alpha on this team? Not with Anthony Edwards on the team, but he doesn't need to be that at this stage of his career. And I think he still has plenty left in the tank. The guy has done a marvelous job of maintaining his body. You said he's 41? I'm 42. I can barely get out of bed in the morning. How is this guy still able to do this?
Right.
I think it would be absolutely tremendous to see LeBron James in a Minnesota Timberwolves jersey.
It makes so much sense, basketball-wise, mentorship-wise, box office-wise.
And let's be honest, even the team is not complete right now, obviously, and it may not even be complete until the trade deadline next year. This team is far from complete, but, as it stands right now, as much of a LaMelo fan as I am, I'm looking at the roster. This isn't enough.
Right.
You look at this roster right now, there's not enough to push us towards a championship.
Not this year.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So you need another big chess piece to fall into place for this team to be considered as a title contender again, especially with the Oklahoma Cities and the San Antonios in the West. So they need a move like this. Whether it's going to be him or somebody else, we have yet to see. But it's a move that I think that would push them much closer towards contention.
For this year, for sure. Because whether you call it a gap year or whatever you want to call it, like I understand what they're doing with LaMelo, Ant, Jaden, and eventually Baron J and whoever else comes. Like they've started, the last few years have been this kind of like dual timeline thing where we've got these old guys and we've got these young guys, and we're going to try to get the most out of them while we can. And they've won 5 playoff series. Like, as a fan of a bad team, the Sacramento Kings.
Yep.
Like, at least I do. I mean, I have 36, 37 years of equity with this franchise to understand, like, winning 5 playoff series in 3 years is a big deal. Like, 100%. I'm never going to take that for granted, given the desert that was here before.
Yeah.
For many, many years, before KG and after KG. So, but they were doing it to maximize it. Well, now they have completely moved the train from kind of straddling, like they were on this track. Now it's like, what do they call them when they just shift the track? They've shifted it. Yeah. Now they're in the 26 and under. I should have put in there. And so for me, all this stuff, like, I want them to be as good as possible next year, of course. But I also see the bigger picture down the road that they're trying to hit something, again, year 2, 3, 4 of this thing while they have all these guys. And by the way, with what we're seeing with the second apron stuff, like, it's a real deal. Like, teams are going to peel off guys. Oklahoma City's going to have to at some point. San Antonio's going to have to at some point.
You already saw it with Oklahoma City a little bit this offseason.
You just saw it with the Knicks with Mitchell Robinson. Like, is that like a critical piece? Well, no, he's not one of their benchmarks, but he helped them.
No doubt.
He helped them big time. I love
to have
in the
Mitchell
finals.
Robinson on my team.
Exactly. So they're trying to position themselves the best, I think, for 2, 3, 4 years, which I'm fine with. If you can still win a bunch of games and get into the playoffs and see what happens, you still need a bunch of good players. But for 1 year, the LeBron piece would immediately make you, I think, maybe not a contender, but not much further down the list.
My favorite quality from Tim Connolly, as he's been here for a few years now, is he absolutely has the mentality of, if you're standing still, you're falling behind. And whether you agree with these moves or don't agree with these moves, I'm not just going to stand pat and run it back for a third year in a row or keep things the way they are just because maybe we might be cash strapped or maybe we're, above one apron or another. Listen, I'm doing whatever it takes to make this roster much better. And like he said, I think he was even quoted as saying, in no uncertain terms, if I go down, at least I'm going to go down swinging.
Right.
I'm not just going to stand on the sidelines and just let this team age out. So
it's great.
You have to appreciate that about him.
All right. We're going to talk more about LeBron with Mike Trudell next segment, as well as Johnny at 5:30. Let's rapid fire some of the best advice people have for you.
Please.
Brad, Sean, Brian, KFAN, text line 64686. Pierre Noujaim from Fox Sports, Fox 9 Sports. He's about to become a dad for the first time. Yes, I'm surprised too, as a guy who's known him for a while. Meat Sauce, Paul Lambert.
Oh, yeah.
Checked in.
Please.
Says, and this is a good one, the nights are long, but the days are short, and the years are short.
Yeah.
I would add, cherish all of it. And trust me, I'm about to have a middle schooler, and I look like this, and I've got this beard. I'm like, where the hell did that time go? Like, I just told you, I remember our drive home from the hospital with them like it was yesterday. So that is totally true.
Right. I love that.
All of that is true. And we got a lot of that. Like, it's very long, it's very stressful, but it goes by in a blink of an eye. So try to be present.
Yeah.
When you can. Willow Mark Rosen's cat said that. If they're crying, they are breathing. That's a good one.
Actually, I haven't heard that one before. That's good.
Good advice. This is one of my favorites. And we finally got smart about this. I don't know if your wife will be like this, but my wife was in a hurry to get out of the hospital.
Okay.
I'm like, why would we leave? Like, they're doing everything.
Got everything.
Like, especially as you have more kids. Like, the other two are with grandma and grandpa. Like, we're actually sitting here. Like, they're helping with everything. They're making sure the feedings, the diaper. There's a nursery they can go to. Use the nursery. They're not going to want. You're going to want to be close to them. You're going to worry about use it because that's where you sleep for those couple nights.
Sure.
I mean, do whatever you want. But I'm saying,
yeah. Trust me, I'm soaking all this in. Trust me.
JG, this is from Dana and Fargo. We had 3 boys. Tell him never to change a diaper with his mouth open. Cover him up as quick as possible.
We are having a boy, so I have heard about this, yes.
Make sure you dry the baby completely before you put the new diaper on. Remember that.
Got it. Okay.
Take your family on a week-long vacation every year. So remember that one.
I will definitely be doing that. Trust me.
Where are we here? This is Tim. Best advice every morning when you wake up, apologize to your wife for what you will evidently do wrong. Teach them to say mama first.
Okay, that's smart.
Because most kids, I think dada is easier.
Yeah.
Seems like that happens a lot.
Okay.
You want to really hammer the mama, get that going first.
I can do that.
All right. This is another good one, and I recommend this wholeheartedly. My son is only 2 years old, so take this with a grain of salt. So far, the biggest game changer for us was sleep training our son.
Okay.
We put it off for a while. It was really hard, but once we did it, both my wife and I were getting more than 3 hours of sleep at a time. It changed everything.
So when you say sleep training the kid, like, I mean, are you saying, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's 8 o'clock, whatever time works for you, whatever. It's 8 o'clock. He's going down no matter what. And it's, how does that, like, so how exactly are you?
My understanding, this is from, I lost the sleep training battle in my house, which was a tough battle to lose. It's essentially, you got to let him cry it out. The instinct is they're in the crib, they're crying, they need us.
Yeah.
They might, but they have to be able to put themselves to sleep.
Okay.
And I'll just tell you, I mean, you see me.
Yes. Yeah.
You see me. I'm a decade and a half into this thing.
For I can already tell you right now, for a first time mom, knowing my wife the way I do, there's no chance.
Oh, it's horrifying.
There's no chance.
Yeah, that's the battle.
Yeah.
In my opinion, every dad's like, yeah, sleep, they're fine.
Yeah.
Sleep train. The moms, though, it's rough. And there will be tension if you're not on the.
Yeah. Why don't you care about your child?
Yes. We're like, I know it's not the right thing, but I can't let them suffer like this. Like,
right.
All right. And like every person, like a friend of mine gave me a book about it. And I read all of it.
About this specific topic?
About sleep training.
Okay.
I read every word.
Uh-huh.
We did none of it. None of it.
I do.
It was the worst reading of my life because I'm like, we're not going to do this.
I do have like 3 or 4 books by my dresser that I still have yet to crack open.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. And that's going to be my advice. So we're going to build up to my advice.
Okay.
Read to your kid.
Okay.
It's never too early to start. I agree with
Is that you or is that from the text line?
That's from the text line.
Yeah, I like that.
Got to coach the kids' sports. Yeah, they'll do that.
I will definitely not be doing that. You do not want me as a coach.
Find what works for you. Don't worry about everyone else's advice. Typically, common sense prevails.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, here's another sleep training. Absolute must.
Okay. Big on the sleep training.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, this one says the cry it out method is outdated. It can cause a lot of mental struggles.
Really?
So there's other ways.
You know this is going to be a challenge for me because I for the majority of my life, bedtime has been whenever I feel like I'm stopping playing Call of Duty. And my wake up time is whenever I feel like it. That has been my life for the last 20 years or so.
That's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you this fall. Hire a sleep consultant. Brandon Molesky from 9 to Noon says, best decision we've ever made. Wish we hadn't waited until the third child.
A sleep consultant?
A sleep consultant. Yeah, so there's that. Appreciate all the fan dads listening to the show and checking in.
I very much appreciate it. I really do.
So my only advice is, and I'll say this to you every single time I see you, you're doing fine.
I hope so.
You're doing fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be great. Whatever you think, you're doing fine. That's all it is.
I'm really looking forward to this fall when I look you, Ron, and PJ Fleck in the eye as the three of you are probably nodding and smiling. There it is. There he finally gets it now. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Not as much as we are. Not as much as we are, buddy. We look forward to welcoming you into the club. Best of luck.
Super excited.
You're going to be a great dad because you're a great dude.
I appreciate it.
And
I'm really excited.
It's going to be awesome. So congratulations and thanks for coming in as always.
Thanks for having me and thank you for everybody who sent in some advice. I really appreciate it. We're feeling super blessed and I'm super excited.
You didn't rip anybody really today. That's
no red card today. Although I will say,
go ahead.
This idling in the middle lane that I've now noticed actually is absolutely driving me insane. Is it not common knowledge to be all the way in the right if you're going to go slow? Why is everybody in the middle? Going up and down 494 lately these days, like people are just idling in the middle lane.
So it's not good enough that we've given you the left lane. Now you want the middle lane as well?
I can't. Like a lot of times, I can't get over to the left lane to pass because you got people going fast in the left lane, and then the right people are starting to go faster than you in the middle. Come on, get over in the right lane.
All right, are you taking that way back to work?
I mean, I guess that's all I've got. You know.
All right. Well, good luck, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Good luck
man.
with that.
All right, thanks.
And good luck with fatherhood.
Thanks.
Pierre Noujaim, Fox 9 Sports. Back to soccer and LeBron. Another good friend of mine, Mike Trudell, Lakers.com, joins us around the corner.
Justin Guard in for Barreiro.
Cake Show edition of Bumper to Bumper. Garza in for Dan today. Johnny Athletic about an hour from now. Top 5 at 5 at the top of the hour on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline right now. I'm going to try a preemptive strike with our bottom of the hour 4:30 Central, 2:30 Pacific time guest. I'm going to try a preemptive strike with Mike Trudell. For those of you in the Bradshaw and Bryant inbox 64686 who can't hear me, Mike Trudell from Lakers.com. Here's the preemptive strike, Mr. Trudell. The Edina fireworks were canceled on the 4th of July because somebody left them out. There was a rainstorm, and they got too wet to be lit. Do you feel bad for the cake eaters?
This was smart for you. You knew that I was going to get at least a couple of shots in on Edina and all that it encompasses, as you had me on for however long we're on. And I have to be honest with you, I did surprisingly feel a little bit sad, just for the kids of the Edina parents that don't know yet what's to come. Okay, everybody that's been there for longer than that, I have no sympathy for. That's sort of part of the deal. But, yeah, the little kids out there that didn't get to see fireworks because somebody screwed it up, I'll give you a little sympathy.
Now, here's where I will pile on worse than you. Most of those kids have either seen fireworks or will see fireworks at their country club or somewhere up in Brainerd at one of the expensive golf courses on a day that has nothing to do with 4th of July. So they're going to get their firework fix at some point, you know?
Well, I'm glad that you put it that way. I mean, I have my own problems here. I'm trying to figure out how to do a Chick-fil-A or how to do a bulk order. Do I do the tray for a World Cup party coming up for Team USA for the boys and their team? But the problem is you can't get the fries if you do the tray. You almost have to do like a separate order. So we're trying to figure out nugget counts over here. It's a little complicated, Garth.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking time on a stressful afternoon to talk a little bit about soccer. And I do want to talk about, I want to start with LeBron and get to the soccer. How have you kind of observed, as someone who's covered him and kind of knows how the LeBron operation works, and it's an operation, as I'm sure you can tell us, how have you kind of observed the whole thing and all of us going crazy in the, 6, 7, 8, 9 markets that think they have a chance with this guy?
Well, I think first and foremost, the first time that I really entertained the idea that he wasn't just going to come back to Los Angeles for one final season for the multitude of reasons, among them his son being on the team, right? The golf courses here, the chance to win, playing well in that March run when the Lakers were 15-2, and all of that, all of those things. And by the way, the fact that they could pay him as much money as anybody else. When I heard that Draymond Green opted out of his deal in order to essentially save that to add on at the end of the summer, which would open up cap space, or even if it's just a minimum, but open up some level of room for LeBron to go there, that was the first time that I thought, okay, maybe he isn't going to come back to L.A. And since then, of course, you've heard so much more, including being Minnesota, potentially being added to the list. I am rooting for that. I think that would be very fun. I think that team would be very difficult to beat. My favorite in the clubhouse, though, at this point is still Golden State.
Yeah, that's kind of what I assume. That's kind of what I'm landing on, too. And it is funny, though, how I just hope he doesn't go to Denver, quite frankly, as a Timberwolves fan. That would be the one where I'm like, oh, out of all of it, you got to go to Denver. But what do you think is appealing to him about the Golden State situation, maybe more so than any of the others?
Well, the one thing that they have there, they have a couple of his actual peers that he's actually friends with that after a long game in a back-to-back in, say, Cleveland and Detroit, he could go up in the hotel room and have a glass of wine with Draymond and Steph and, maybe even Steve Kerr. Al Horford is another guy that they've known for a long time. So that's the one thing that maybe the Lakers don't have to offer on that same front, because the oldest Laker right now is Austin Reeves, who just turned 28. Mm-hmm. And his son is much closer in age to any of the kids that we mentioned missing fireworks in Edina last night than his next oldest teammate. So it's that gap. Maybe I can understand that. It's just wanting to be around your guys kind of for one last run. And I mean, anytime guards, you think about it. I don't know if it's the same for you. If I've got a free weekend or if I've got a chance to do something, I'm like, is there a way that I can see one of my longtime friends?
Right.
That's still sort of the pull other than your kids. And of course, he at least got to experience that with Bronny for the last 2 years. So the chance to be with peers to me is something that Golden State has to offer that not many do.
Yeah, you get to a certain age, your life simplifies for sure. You know that. I know that. Brett Blakemore, my producer, doesn't quite yet know that, but that you get to a certain age that you do lay it out nicely. This is Mike Trudell from Lakers.com, does a million things out in Los Angeles on radio and TV. He's from Orono, played soccer at Northwestern. We're going to talk to him about the World Cup here in just a minute. Whoever lands LeBron, what are they still getting at age 41 entering year 24?
Well, the funny thing is, I would say I first started tracking LeBron, kind of what he did, what he was doing at his age for all the miles that he had on him, literally 8 years ago. Like back when he first came to the Lakers, he was already doing there's only two 35-year-olds that have these level of numbers. And then, skip a couple years. He gets it, and he wins the title that year, the year after that in 1920, or 2019-20. Then skip a couple years ahead, and he's still producing at a level higher than anybody ever had at that age. Now, last year, there never has been a player that has played a 23rd season in the NBA, and so you can't really compare it. But I had to take the best career year at age 35, and there was nobody even there that lived up to what he did last year, which is basically all-star numbers, close to all-NBA third team type territory. You could argue that on any given night, he's as good as anybody on the all-NBA second team. So he still has way more juice than he should. The only way that I can explain it is that he, A, is the most talented, B, has the best natural gifts of anybody in the game. C, works on his body the hardest.
Yep.
And D, is extremely smart. So if there was going to be an exception to the rule, if there was going to be somebody that could continue to play that long, it would be somebody like him. And I think to make it relevant to Minnesota, think about an athlete on the level of Anthony Edwards, where now he doesn't have quite the same size in terms of like the 6'9", and which that I think that ages well for LeBron as well, because even if he can't beat you off the dribble every time, he can just drag you down to the post. But the level of athlete that Anthony Edwards is, where he was just born like that, he was just born and was better than everybody else at everything. It didn't matter what it would be. I think back to the Olympics and his quote about ping pong, and like that's where you start with that level of an athlete, and then you throw in all of the stuff around it, which I think Ant has a lot of those formulas as well. But it's remarkable, really, Justin, and I think that there's no way that I'm just going to predict that stops next year. It's just that can he get to a team where he's got enough left in the tank in the postseason, and I think that's going to be the challenge. But I would expect he's not going to go to a team that doesn't have that.
What did you see from him in terms of, obviously, you make the Luka deal, Austin Reeves, he's just gotten paid. We all kind of know how that team is moving now, where they're moving. In terms of how his role kind of changed from the guy who everything centered around to, okay, now it's Luka's show. Obviously, that had to change in the postseason. And by the way, he still played really, really well. He still had that gear when he needed it. Obviously, the series didn't last as long as people wanted, but he didn't have much else there. I guess the question, Mike, is, did he prove to you that he's going to be comfortable joining somebody else's team as opposed to Luka coming into his situation and kind of taking it over more organically?
Yeah, I've learned this by asking LeBron questions after the game over these years, and that his general answer. So you can start with, "Hey, LeBron, what was the key today? How were you able to do X, Y, or Z?" And his answer almost always starts with, "I just did whatever my team needed me to win that night, needed from me." Some nights it's scoring, some nights it's passing, some nights it's pushing in transition, some nights it's figuring out the other team's scouting report. So he really does. He doesn't have a real weakness in his game. It's just that he, other than having to pick and choose a bit when he's going to ramp things up. And honestly, like, you could even look at the Wolves' last couple of playoff series, and this is why I'm so intrigued about the trade and bringing LaMelo in there. It's like, okay, well, Anthony Edwards doesn't really have a weakness either, other than playing through that injury. But what happens when the other team completely shifts the scouting report to that player, hits him with a trap, and then says good luck to the secondary creator, which because of the injuries and such, that was Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that now next year, right, that the secondary guy is either going to be LaMelo or Ant playing it. If you want to trap, it's fine. Then you're a really dangerous team in a 4-on-5 situation. And that's, I think, what the Lakers could have been if Luka Doncic had stayed healthy. Where, okay, you want to trap Luka? Then LeBron's got the ball 4-on-3 on the other side of the court, or Austin Reeves does. But it wasn't enough to get past San Antonio or OKC to just have even two of those three. And that's where I think, like, I saw at least what I think Minnesota is trying to get to. And yes, you may have to add another big piece to sort of solidify the front court. But in the case of LeBron James, he can do that too if you need, right? He can kind of do all of it. But all of these teams are watching what's happening with OKC and San Antonio and being like, we have to find multiple ways to break down a defense. It can't just be one.
When do you think we'll know? When do you think a decision is going to be made?
I don't think anytime soon necessarily. Honestly, I don't, and that's kind of part of what LeBron will do.
Yep.
He's gonna take his time with it. And I am honestly, like, because I've been through it so many times in the previous off seasons, I actually don't worry about it that much. But I know that it's going to be a topic of conversation for sure. I assume for several weeks.
Yeah, we're going to get the run out of it. You know how sports radio works. We're going to milk it. This is Mike Trudell.
We're doing it out here every day, buddy.
Oh, I'm sure, as you should. You mentioned LaMelo Ball. I did want to get your thoughts on that. I know you covered Lonzo because he was drafted by the Lakers. What's your read on that situation? You mentioned seeing you kind of feel like you understand what the Wolves are trying to do. What do you think?
I think that there's sort of these two sides on LaMelo Ball, right? And there's the one side where you kind of see the histrionics and not that it's like about the cars and anything like that, but just sort of the loose style that he plays with. And I think that sometimes, especially because Charlotte was such an unserious franchise for his first couple of years, he got tagged along with that. So what would have happened to him, though, if he went to a serious franchise, which let's take the Wolves now. The Wolves have become a serious franchise. Not so much when you and I grew up, but now a serious franchise, right? With the exception of maybe the 1 year of the 2004 season when that was a serious team.
Yep.
But they didn't have the depth because of the previous first-round picks that had all gone away. Not to bring that up, but I still think about it a lot.
Joe Smith, anyway. Yeah, why wouldn't we? Yep.
If you just watched LaMelo, so throw out everything you thought about him. If you just watched Charlotte last year, you'd be like, man, this guy's pretty good, man. There's just something about the style that he plays with, and yes, it's sometimes going to be some bad shots. It's sometimes going to be a crazy pass, but it lifts the level of his teammates. It just does. It's fun. He's sprinting up and down all the time. He's a great rebounder for his position. He's tall. He can get his shot off at any time over anybody. He's better getting downhill to the rim than you might think. So there are a lot of strengths there that I think that a good coach, which Finchie certainly is, in a good system with serious teammates, I think you can get a lot out of them if you can keep him healthy. That's a whole nother conversation. Yep. But I think that he's learned some things there. So, like, bottom line, Charlotte was much better when he was on the court last year. I think if memory serves right, he was. Let me look it up quick. Yeah, so he was plus 5.8 net rating on the season, best on their team. And that got even better once the team kind of found their way because they had a slow start. So I think it was worth the risk. I don't think the cost was that high. Again, look what Kawhi Leonard just went for. Look what Jaylen Brown just went for. Look what the Lakers just gave 2 picks to get Walker Kessler. So I think that the cost was worth it, and I like that the Wolves are going for it. And more than anything else, saying you can't just load up on Anthony Edwards because if LaMelo's out there playing with his style, it doesn't even have to be Ant, but somebody's getting an open shot. And we're going to hold him accountable on the other end. I think it makes sense for me.
Well, and the situation you described in Charlotte, we are in the 4-year anniversary time period of the Rudy Gobert trade, which is hotly debated and contested. I'm sure we've talked about it on and off the air. But the Rudy Gobert trade was to avoid this, or try to get the exact opposite in Minnesota that LaMelo Ball just had in Charlotte, right? They wanted to make the Wolves a serious franchise for the early Anthony Edwards years. And if you just compare the two situations of what those two came into in the league, I know Ant had a year before, or a couple of years actually before Rudy, but their whole premise was we want to be a serious franchise and have high leverage games, which they've obviously had. And now Ant has grown because of that. Like LaMelo didn't have all of that, right? And how much? So that's where I'm just as open-eyed and curious as you is. All right, let's see what he can do now that he's with a more adult franchise. As great as a year as Charlotte had last year, and they were red hot for like 3 months. They came in here and ran the Wolves out of the gym. That's what I'm most curious about is now that he's in a stable spot with a team that has aspirations here moving forward, what's he going to look like?
Well, and Justin, he is 24. Like
right.
We've known about him for a long time, but he's 24, so he's still generally very, very young in the NBA sphere. His contract isn't that bad either, relative to what a lot of stars are because of the fact that he's still this young. So I think it's more than a worthwhile experiment here, and I get that the Wolves would want to shift a little bit in that direction moving forward. So I'm pro LaMelo trade at this stage, and honestly, if this isn't the number one league pass team for next year, then I will be shocked. This is going to be a fun thing to watch, and I'm 10-year-old me, 10-year-old Guardsy are jealous of what we got excited about watching the Bulls on WGN, right? Up until the Wolves had a product that was fun to watch. So that in that sense, I'm jealous of my fellow Minnesotans.
All right, in our final few minutes here, this is Mike Trudell from Lakers.com. Has been in LA forever. Used to work for Timberwolves.com, but before all of that was a college soccer star at Northwestern University, where he learned to ask questions to LeBron James like, "What was the key tonight? You really got the most out of that education." Or in Ozone, how fun has this been for you just to have the World Cup in the United States? I know you've been to at least one match with your family, which has to be just really cool with a couple of kids that play soccer as well. How have you kind of taken in the entire World Cup in the United States experience?
It's been tremendous. I certainly remember the '94 World Cup, as people our age would. And at the time, people on the soccer side of the equation, we were just fighting for our lives out here, right? Like all the national TV guys are hating on soccer, using various derogatory terms about it. Anytime you ran into a football player in the hallway, right, you got to look a certain way.
Trouble.
And I think that and that made soccer people defensive as well. And kind of like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's flopping? And just having all those arguments. And I think that like people having gotten to watch the English Premier League or La Liga or Champions League or international tournaments, I think we've gotten to a point now where it's a more accepted part of the sports viewing, and then we can just focus on the games themselves. And overall, like what FIFA has done in terms of expanding the field has been great for the stars, because there are more bad teams, which has meant more scoring, which has meant more games overall, and just more. That part of it has worked. It makes me think a little bit of the NFL, like adding, like let's go ahead while we're on top. Let's schedule games away from the NBA. Let's add an additional game. Let's just keep going. And so FIFA has been doing that successfully. The only bad parts have been the red cards, which I hate. That's a whole nother side discussion I don't want to get in on. That was my first job, by the way, out in Orno. I was a ref, and the guy that taught me was like, this is the red card. Never give it unless you have to. Yeah. Well, that wasn't exactly the case so far in this tournament. And I'm just excited. Like, we've got all the real teams now. We've trimmed all the fat. France-Morocco is a crazy game. Spain against either USA or Belgium. We got Norway, England, and then probably Argentina, like against either Colombia or Switzerland. Like it's all still happening, Guardsy. I'm very excited about it. I'm glad that you come around to the beautiful game, and we'll look forward to hearing all of your takes coming up in an hour or two when USA plays. Oh,
I've got huge takes for sure. But what is it, in all seriousness, though, what has it been like to have the casuals like me on board? And for me, it all changed. I mean, up until like 3 weeks ago, Mike, I was like, man, what's FIFA doing? The tickets are too expensive. It's like $1,000 to take a train from New York to New Jersey. This thing is greedy. They're not selling the tickets. And 1-1 against Paraguay that Friday night, and I was all in. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is unbelievable.
Well, you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong at all about that. I do actually think that it's outrageous that the ticket prices are what they are. I thought that too, like during the Taylor Swift concert, though. Yep. And then my wife didn't end up getting tickets, and I'll never hear the end of it. Yeah. Because I was just like, I don't want to go. It's $1,000 really for a concert. So like, I get that that's part of what it is, the world we live in. The one that I went to, we got free tickets. Thanks. Shout out to Orno's own Dr. Robbie Sika, who hooked us up with those. Wow. But like So getting prohibited in terms of the ticket pricing is not awesome, but at least everybody gets to watch it, and like we can all experience it together. The matches themselves, Garzi, for a soccer hardcore person, are no different from the previous World Cup, right, or the European tournament, which will be in 2 years from now. The matches have been what international soccer is. But it's just cool to see Americans jumping on board. And I think the USA is a slight underdog, no matter what Vegas will tell you. Today, Belgium has a little bit more depth of talent at the top, but USA can absolutely win this game. This isn't Spain. Spain will be waiting next if USA can win. This is a good team, but not a great team. So USA's got a real shot, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's stay there to wrap it up. So give us the X's and the O's, the soccer, the great soccer mind, the tactics tonight, what you'll be looking for, what I should be looking for as I'm watching in my house of, all right, the U.S., they're in good shape. They're not in good shape. Belgium's got the better play here. What are you going to be looking for, early, middle, and late?
Okay, so first of all, the fact that the USA does get Balogun back, I'm a little bit worried that this has angered the soccer gods. So that's that's my initial fear, because Belgium, they didn't have any bulletin board material before that.
Yeah.
Now they can do the whole everyone's against us, and they've been Belgium's been a little casual in their previous games. They are not going to be casual today. That's my first worry. Now, because they're not casual, I'm going to give you 4 names here, and these are elite international players, all of whom are better than anyone that has ever played for the U.S. men's national team.
Okay.
Now, Pulisic, he can make an argument, but so Yuri Tielemans, Leandro Trossard, Kevin De Bruyne, Jeremy Doku. These are real dudes, all right, and they all do different things. But De Bruyne will be orchestrating in the middle, but Doku is the name that gives me the biggest concern. He's just incredibly tricky, incredibly strong, incredibly physical on the outside, and they'll try to isolate him to go against our outside backs. Get into the box and just play balls in for the rest of those guys I just named to finish. So he's my primary concern. But what I do like is that we are super athletic. It's a very strong, very fast, hard tackling team. So we'll be in it. And our danger man on the outside is Pulisic. And he got injured early in the tournament. He hasn't quite looked back to full fitness yet, but he should be for tonight. And he's the danger man where you can expose Belgium's back line a little bit, just in the way that I think their attacking players can expose the U.S.'s back line. So it should be like a relatively even match. I think Belgium will have a little bit more of the ball, but USA will be looking to shoot up the wings in the counterattack. And, I'm really trying to talk myself into it.
Yeah.
It's for USA to get a chance to get crushed by Spain.
Well, and we'll get to that. We don't have to worry about that. Tell me your impressions on Pochettino, our coach.
Yeah, so I watched the HBO series. Did you watch that?
No, not yet. I'm going to now.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
HBO did. They took the full inside the NFL crew, or no, not inside. What's the HBO? Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
They took the full Hard Knocks crew and had them. So they had the A team on it, and they did a nice job with the national team. So Pochettino is. He's certainly a smart manager. He knows how to shift formations. He knows what he's doing. He played for the Argentine national team. He's a very confident guy. He's tall. There's a little bit of the language barrier stuff where, you can't quite understand what he's saying all the time, because he's speaking so rapidly in Spanish. But his main thing is just he would, and as he did this as a player, he will happily die on the field. Mm-hmm. There is nothing more important to him than the game of soccer. And that has been a challenge for United States, for athletes that grow up here and you're a great athlete, so you're good at 3 sports. And then, okay, fine, I guess I'm super fast. I'll focus the most on soccer. But you've got all this other stuff going on. You're watching other sports. You're consuming other things. Whereas he's from Argentina and nothing else matters at all. So he's trying to get this team to be into that mindset. And I think it's working, honestly. I think he's doing a nice job with it. It's just that this has been the history of foreign coaches coming in here and being I don't get it. Why do people not care more? And we're okay, look, man, we got all these other things going on. Basically the conversation you and I just had, right? About casuals versus hardcores.
Yep.
There aren't casual soccer fans anywhere else in the world. They're all hardcores. That's the only thing that matters. So he's trying to get the players up to speed with that. I think he's doing a really good job so far. But this game this game, Gargi, is going to tell us a lot more than any of the previous ones, because we still haven't played a great team. And that worries me a little bit in the sense of like Mexico, who looked awesome, didn't give up a goal, and then the English came in, and it was like, okay, this is a step above talent-wise. And they got a couple guys who are a step above talent guys. Can we rotate enough around that and kind of rally the flag around that to get a victory for Uncle Sam?
I can hear you're really fired up, man. I'm happy for you and all your soccer brethren. Brett, producing today, who calls you every time you come on with me, he's got his Pulisic jersey on. He's worn it every single match day. He's been our official World Cup correspondent, a role that you have played in the past. So I'm really fired up for friends like you and people like you, and I'm glad you could share it with your family. It's very cool, man. Enjoy tonight.
Brett, I'll get the exercise tray in case you can get to L.A.
Thank you.
Within a couple hours. You'll lose a couple hours coming back, so just keep that in mind.
I'll be ready.
Hey,
I'll manage.
Mike, on the way out, can I bring you down though on the way out? Because I want, when you're done with me, hang up, go talk to your beautiful wife Annie about Taylor Swift. Tell her that 3 years ago, I was at the second night of the Eras Tour here in Minneapolis, where Taylor played.
You son of a.
She played Dear John for the first time in 11 years. Just say that phrase to her and let me know how she responds, that you didn't get to go and that I got to go see. And I didn't even know why the Dear John thing was such a big deal. See how much she gets annoyed by that.
Look, I'm not going to tell her because she'll just get mad at me about it. But, Brett, that's the difference between Idana and Orno, all right? Idana, you're just like, what's the ticket cost for Taylor Swift? No biggie. Orno, back in the day, you had to consider it. As I understand it, we're becoming closer to Idana.
You're worse.
Maybe I should stop.
Yeah, you're way worse. Trust me.
I should stop talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will not be relaying that message to my lovely wife. Thank you guys.
All right, I'll send her a message on Insta. And I didn't have anybody getting free tickets. Thankfully, I got them for face value though, so that was helpful because I wasn't paying StubHub either. Nice. Yeah, you're the best, dude. Enjoy tonight for real. Have fun with your kids and your wife and everybody that's coming over to the party. Get enough chicken, and we will talk soon.
No, you are the best. Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you, Brett. I'll see you later.
That is from Lakers.com. Mike Trudell. Mike Trudell. Have I said it enough for the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line? He is not running for governor. I will not have the other side of the gubernatorial race on because he's a reporter for Lakers.com. He's Mike Trudell. Are these people serious?
In for Barreiro. This is Justin.